All right, well, we're at my buddy Brad's house. We're gonna be getting my buck from last year scored, and he's a professional buckmaster scorer, certified and all. So hopefully he'll show us that monster that we were chasing this year too when I get in here. But yeah, stay along for the trip. What up, man? There he is.
Come on.
All right.
Yeah. What's good, Donnie?
Yeah, he's my first Kansas buck. I will never complain about that.
No. That's a good character.
Yep.
Cool. I'm Kenneth Forbus. I'm a buckmaster scorer. I started scoring deer officially for them back about a year ago today, in January of 23. I've been scoring a lot of deer here locally. Yeah, it's been really fun and exciting time meeting fellow hunters and getting to see some of the wild deer that Kansas provides us hunters. So,
what's the biggest buck you've scored so far?
I think we're around 254. For a guy up in about an hour north of here. So,
jeez.
Yeah, he was a stud, and so.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, we had a few deadheads this year that were in the 230s. I think right now out of the 50-something deer that I scored this year, I think we're at an average right around like 175 is the average deer. So
that's
not
pretty,
too bad.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Average of 175. Some states are lucky to see a 175.
Yeah, right.
That's why I love Kansas.
Yep, it is awesome to see what they can grow into, and so. But yeah, we'll get this one knocked out here, and so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off taping all the tines so we can get a good baseline on them, and then I'll knock out the beams on both sides, and then we'll tape all the tines. And so this one should be pretty easy, not anything too crazy or funky. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. And so a lot of people, will do their own deer, and I think this is really kind of where it makes a difference, is just getting a good tape on them and getting those baselines. So, yeah, it was sure enough tough to do that. Right down the midline of this beam, behind the ear, and then and get out here to the end. And we're hoping for 30-inch beams, right?
Yeah. That'd be impressive with him.
See what we got here. Yeah. All right. So we got 19 and 2/8.
Okay.
On that right beam.
So when I scored him, I ended up, what I tell you, I think 149.
Okay.
So.
Well, hopefully, and generally, when I score them, I typically get them a little bit bigger.
Yeah, you know all the right measurements and everything. I just kind of did it off of stuff I found.
That, and it really comes down like using a cable to get the contour. If you're using one of those like seamstress type rulers and stuff like that, it's just really hard to get the bends and twists. And it usually takes away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that one is right at 19. And what I'll do is once I finish everything, I'll come back and remeasure the main beams, just because that is the biggest discrepancy between scoring is your main beam lengths, because obviously they're long, they contour.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to knock out your right side tines on the, what we call for buckmasters, the P1, because it makes sense because it's your first point. A lot of people refer to it as the G1 or your brow tine, but I've never understood what G stands for. And Buckmasters is smart and calls it the P1. So
Makes sense, actually.
Yeah. And so we got a 4 2/8 on that one. And now we're going to go to the P2. Mark it off. And you got 9 6/8. I said 4. 9 6/8. P3. Now this one has a split, and so obviously you got to determine which one is your, your actual P3, and then which one is your abnormal. And so on this one, you can kind of follow that grain that comes up here. You notice the grain is more in line on this. And you also can look at both sides, which one matches that one, the most. So, that one's kind of interesting in the fact where most of this grain seems to travel up, and you can see where this grain kind of starts in here, and then it starts coming up. And so what we're going to go with is we're going to follow this one up for your 3, and then this one for your abnormal.
Okay. It's kind of interesting because I doubt a lot of people understand that.
Yeah, I mean it's a judgment call, and so you got to look at it and just see which one looks more natural. You can look at the grain to see where it originates from, where it meets the main beam and comes up, and that usually will clue you in on which one is the actual 3 and which one's abnormal. So we got an 8 4/8, and then we're going to measure the abnormal. And what we're going to do is same thing a while ago. We're going to get our cable here, and we're going to draw a line where it would meet that 3. So draw a line, find our midline where it meets, and clip it off. You're looking at a 4 7/8, and that goes in your abnormal category. All right, now we're going to go to our 4.
It's a pretty straightforward one.
Yep, that was an easy one. Yeah, I have this weekend, I have a deer down in southern Kansas that I'm going to go do. I expect it to be 250s or higher.
Whew.
Yeah, and that one is not straightforward. There is stuff going everywhere. So we got a 4 7/8 on that one. Yeah, there is. It's going to be quite interesting.
I know. I was talking to Bowman. He said he's still waiting on you to come score that doe.
Yeah, so he has a antlered doe that was killed, and I need to go score it. I've been meaning to get over there.
That just looks not fun.
That's honestly one of the reasons I've just between time, and it's going to take a while to.
That's going to take you like 3 hours to do that one.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take that long. We're going to get a circumference here. We got some hair in the way. And so on all your circumference measurements, they are going to go off the smallest circumference between the base and the P1, right? So we're going to look at it. So we have a 4 4/8 here. Generally 4 4/8, right? Pretty easy on that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested though to see what that doe ends up scoring.
Yeah,
that's gonna be something else.
Yeah. And so we're going to start at the top here. So we got 4 and an 8. We got a 4 exactly. And we got a 4 and an 8. So it'll go 4 inches. And then go up to the third circumference, which is between the 2 and the 3. And we got a 3 7/8. That one's pretty easy. You can really hit that one in the center. And then you get your last one, which is going to go between the 3 and the 4. And that one is going to go 3 and 2, 3 and 1, 3 and 2, so 3 and 1.
I think a lot of people try to do it at the thickest portions too. I think that's where they end up bumping some of these numbers up.
Yeah, I've had a few people do that. Some taxidermists that measured stuff for people, and I think naturally you want to have that biggest measurement. Especially, I've had some that had some very irregular stuff at the base that made it. Say you have an additional point coming off of the base, and it makes that base like just gigantic, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so, well, you want to stretch a tape measure all the way around that thing to do it the right way. You can't do that. And so I had a guy that, amazing deer, but he had an additional point that looked like a additional beam, and it made it, like 10-inch base. But you could actually get a cable underneath it and actually get a actual base measurement that was like 5.5, 6.
Yeah.
So what he thought he had was like a 205-inch deer, ended up being like a 185, but still absolutely amazing deer.
Yeah.
So we got 4 and 2/8.
Yeah, but when you think you shoot a 200-inch deer, and then you get brought back to reality.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, I guess, the technicality of doing it right versus, but still, I mean, like, the deer was absolutely amazing. And then sometimes we have deer that people think are smaller, and I've had it several times where people thought it was a 150 and it ended up being a 170 because we were able to, do it correctly. So
yeah.
So we got 8 and 6/8.
Yeah, I think I'll be lucky if this one breaks 150.
Never know.
Yeah. But again, cannot complain.
No.
I like to hunt for the experience.
Yeah.
And next year's probably going to be a little bit different story, just because it's probably my last year here for a while. But
I think everybody's a different spot in their hunting journey and what they're after and what they really want. So
yeah.
Yep.
Not sure if you'll be able to top yours. It's like you and Mike. I'm like, ooh, I think you guys are pretty topped out there.
Yeah, I mean, I continue to scout and look at deer and see what's there. I mean, while typical wise, I'm probably not going to get near it. It would be cool to shoot maybe a big typical this year. Yeah. Or something. So, I think right now there's one of the deer that really piqued my interest is like that giant 8-point. That like 150, mid 150 8-point. If he grows a little bit more this year or for next year, then 4 and 7/8. I wouldn't pass him up.
Is he super thick?
Yeah, he's thick. He has everything in an 8-point that you would ever dream of.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's why I was really hard pressed in passing the deer that I shot this year. I was like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I've never seen an 8-point that big in my entire life.
Yeah. This is probably the biggest 8-point I've ever seen in my life in person. And so
if you're thinking he's in the mid 150s and you scored mine 150, I think you'll probably be surprised.
Yeah, honestly, I probably will be surprised with this deer. I've scored some big 8s that were in the 160s, and that's just freaking giant for an 8. This is a true just 8-point, so we'll see. So we got a 4 and 4/8, which matches the other side really well.
Does he have any trash going anywhere?
I can't see any.
No?
Nope, I can't see any trash. Which, most of these Kansas deer, for some reason, they seem to always have trash, even though you can't see it.
They do.
On my deer,
especially that surprising point you found wrapped around behind his ear.
Yeah.
On yours.
A lot of these deer have it for some reason.
Yeah. Like the buck I shot, it was a huge selling point too on me when I saw that 3-inch spike going out the back. I'm like, good God. Just the character in these deer here in Kansas is unreal. Yeah,
there's a lot of hidden stuff sometimes on them, and it's nice because it adds inches to them, and it's just, unsuspected. So we got a 3 and 6/8 on that one, really close to the other side. And then we got, probably it's gonna match pretty close.
Yeah, he was a pretty symmetrical deer, minus that split G3 or P3.
Yep. Alright. I'm gonna run through this beam one more time, just to, if I get the same thing twice, let me know we're pretty good. Yeah, some of your like big long beam deer, you can measure the beams, 5 times and get 5 different answers within a couple eighths. This one's not too hard. So on that one, we got 19 and an eighth, and so there's a tad bit difference there, but an eighth is an eighth.
Sure is.
And it just kind of depends on how you follow these contours sometimes. And then we hit the same thing, 19 and 2/8, so same as our original. Now we're going to get the inside. This is another thing that some people kind of mess up a little bit. And so, for example, it is an inside spread. If you had something additional, like an additional irregular point that resembles, an additional beam, and say it comes out here, you can't measure using that. So you have to measure using the actual 2 main beams. This one's easy, so obviously. So we're gonna have that ruler like perpendicular. We can't like create some like crazy angle here. So we're looking at, as we move up and down, that right there is 15 and 2/8. We'll check it over here, and obviously it's not gonna get any bigger. So 15 and 2/8 is gonna be that inside spread right there.
Perfect.
Yep. And then
I think he's wider than my 8 I shot.
there you go. And then now greatest, this one's going to be easy too. But if we had some like additional point coming out, we would include that. And this isn't really for scoring, but more for identification feature of the deer. And so we're going to go right about there, and we're right at 17 on this side. So that greatest is going to be 17. And then I took the tip. And so pretty easy on that. We're going to line it up there, move it here, and then that's 9 and 4/8. All right.
And that's how you really score a deer.
That's how you score a deer. And so what did you think he was?
I measured him at 149.
Okay. And so this is one of those where, let's see what we got here. Change this font.
He might be less.
So we got 144 and an eighth.
144 and an eighth.
Yep.
It's really not bad at all still.
No.
I'm super excited about that.
Yep.
And this is why you get them professionally done.
Yep, it helps out definitely. And so the right side, we got 67 inches on the antler, and then that was helped out a little bit by that additional 4 7/8 point. And then this side got 61 7/8. So 128 7/8, just pure antler, and then added in with that spread of 15 2/8, you got your 144 1/8.
Cool.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
Especially with the bow. For us, for Buckmasters, you know, being an archery kill, the minimum score is 105 without spread. And so obviously this deer would meet that requirement at 120, what did I say?
128, I think?
Yeah, 128 and 7/8, so well over that. And so if you wanted to enter them into the BTR book, you could do so. And then, like your other deer, certificate will get sent to you. And kind of something additional to remember your deer and everything. You know, like score isn't everything, but it's something cool to know.
Yeah.
You know, like something else I've started doing is sending teeth off for aging. You know, we try to guess sometimes on what the age is, but it's pretty cool to actually know for sure. So.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, congrats, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Now, here's the other part.
Yep.
You got that big rack? We got to pull it out.
Everybody wants
I talk about it. I talk about it enough in all my videos.
All right, here you go.
Like you and I are watching that along with 300 other people, but
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Official score.
It was 229 and 3/8, I believe.
229 and 3/8. Look at this freaking monster.
And so he's about a one. I have to look up exactly, but it was about a 197, not including the junk. So just as a main frame, 14 point, he would have went 197. And then you start including
all the
the
splits.
split P1s, all these additionals down here at the base. Not all of them were counted. They do have to meet the 1 inch requirement. And then
you still ended up with what, 31?
It was 30 something inches of
31 scoreable points too.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, 31 scorables on him. Yeah.
Unreal.
And so you got some of these that hook behind the head here, come off the back. You know, that drop tine.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And a nice little doggy.
Yep. While Wesley is greeting you.
Hi, puppy. I know. Hi. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. Love showing this deer off.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I mean,
Can't wait to get.
You watch them all summer and then a little bit last year and then to actually get your hands on it, something else. So.
I mean, yeah, it was a blessing come true for sure.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. It's going to Bowman's too. He has the cape, obviously, and so I can't wait for Bowman to get him finished up, and yeah, he'll look awesome.
What does bases end up going?
6 something.
Stupid.
Yeah, I can actually pull up the score sheet.
That's incredible.
All right. Yeah, here we go. So, you know,
Jesus.
yeah. Initially, you know,
You don't see a score like that very often.
Yeah. So, wild 31 and 7/8 of irregulars. You know, his inside spread was 19 and 1/8. You know, you're looking at 25 and 1/8 on his right beam, 26 and 1/8 on his left, matching P1s. And then obviously being a 7x7 14 as a main frame, you get to work down the line a little bit on points.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, left side was a 6-inch base, so that was his biggest mass measurement. God. But I mean, his right side went 101 and 2/8, left side 109 and 2/8 with 229 and 5/8. Yeah.
That's just unreal.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. And that was another thing, you know, when we initially watched them, you know, obviously I knew the drop was there.
Mm-hmm.
But
which he grew from last year. You didn't have that last year.
And actually here, I'll add this to it. So I have a friend that actually found one of his sheds last year. And
God,
look
at the size difference from last year.
He was lucky, you know, I was lucky enough for him to be, you know, to let me have it, to go along with it. And yeah, when you talk about seeing like a deer grow from year to year, it's amazing what they can do. So he has some of the characteristics, you know, you can see it matches pretty good, but he grew an extra tine in there, and so it looks like probably the one in between his 2 and his 3, he grew that additional tine there, in there. So his main beam length went up quite a bit. Still had the split on the P1s.
And it just looks like this kind of like rerouted a little bit in the back.
This is actually the guy that found it. He had to recreate this based off photos because it was actually broke about halfway down. And so based on photos, he tried to match it up as close as he could from last year's photos of this deer. Because there was obviously several other people hunting him. So I don't know exactly, but he probably was seeing this right here, I would imagine, on the photos, and try to recreate that. But he did an awesome job on it. And, but
looks great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's wild what a deer can do with genetics, and I had a lot of questions about why the deer still had velvet on it, and it's obviously dried. It's almost like baked on there, and he obviously had hormonal issues. Last year's shed still had velvet hanging on it, and so this deer, for whatever reason, didn't shed correctly.
Yeah.
And so it seems like a lot of the bigger deer here in the state that I see have some like weird abnormalities with them, whether it's hormone issue or something that possibly sparks up more growth in them. And but yeah, just
it's so awesome.
Wild.
Well, damn, thanks for showing it.
Yeah, no problem.
Like I said, I talk about it enough.
Yeah, that's
I was hoping between you, me, or my other buddy who hunted over there would get him. I really am glad one of us at least got him.
Yeah,
he's a stud.
If it would be awesome just to be able to go back and like, how many people got so close to him? I had several people send me videos from the tree stand last year, this deer, where they were trying to kill him, and it was like a bush was in the way, or he was on the other side of the thicket, or something like that. So, and we were guessing he was probably about 170-inch mainframe last year, and then this year about 197, and that's what you could see with the eye. Obviously, you couldn't see all these little stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, turned out pretty cool. But yeah,
stud.
Not too bad.
No.
Yeah.
God, that's awesome. Well, thanks for showing, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for measuring.
Yeah, anytime.
I got another shed for you that I'll have to bring in. So.
Yeah, I hope to maybe score the deadhead Drake Massey found. That would be cool. And then I have this one this weekend. Hopefully go in the 250s. Guy, it's awesome meeting some of the older guys. He's older, been hunting 40-something years. Same private property that he's had access to. He's never seen a deer this big there. And then this year, he killed it. So
it's awesome.
He had said it's better to be lucky than good. So I mean,
most times that's how it works.
Yep, most time with the big ones, that's how it works. So.
But all right, man.
Cool.
Appreciate you again, as always.
No problem.
And I'll be back.
I hope so.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yep.